I'm guessing that about 18 hours has passed since we sprayed these yesterday. Obviously the airbrush is all cleaned up, and I'm feeling a little bit bad. As I indicated yesterday, I had said that I was going to show how I clean my airbrush out the next time I use it, and then yesterday we sort of ran out of time, and I didn't do it. So today I will. In fact, probably in the next few minutes I will. I'm just going to do a dry run. It doesn't really matter if there's paint all over it or not, I'll just do a dry run. But first, let's take a look at some of these pieces here and see how they came out. I'm really wondering about this little one right here, because if you remember, I really soaked it good, or I guess you'd say flooded it. In fact, it was running down the sides. So let's put the macro lens on and have a nice close look at it and see how did it come out. Can we still see the detail in the top of this little box? Okay, you can see that there is discoloration there a lot down the side. But I do believe that we probably, well, let's see, how can I put this? Because the paint that I was using was so thinned out, most of the solvent that was in it, or solvent, I mean the water that was in it, evaporated out and left only the pigment. Okay, right there on this side you can really see where it had slumped. But I don't think that's going to be too noticeable, when it's mounted on the ship itself. In fact, in all likelihood, nobody's even going to see this little box. But anyway, you can see on the top there all the detail, like even the two things at the back are obviously to represent the hinges, and then there's supposed to be a little tiny handle on the front here. Well, as far as I remember, this entire top was just completely flooded over. I don't think there was anything visible. I'll dig out yesterday's file and we'll compare. Okay, it wasn't as bad as I had remembered it, but you got to admit, it was pretty bad. Now this, of course, is one of the larger boxes. It's probably, I'm guessing, 3 times as big as the little one. Detail came out quite nice on the top of that. We didn't lose anything there, but then I didn't expect we would. Let's take a look at the guns. We'll look at the one that has the sights bent up the wrong way first. Yeah, as I mentioned a few episodes ago, I'm just afraid that if I tried to correct that error and bend those down, I would probably end up breaking them off. Okay, let's look at the one that one of the ones that is correct. There's this one is wrong, and 3 of them are correct. When I was spraying yesterday, I was having a hard time getting the airbrush to come up and hit the back of this when it was on the rotator. I'll have to remember next time I paint that something like this does not work well on the rotator. It's better off just holding it by hand. Okay, you get the idea. Now I noticed this when I was editing yesterday. Along the bottom here of the bulkhead, I guess when I was using the airbrush was coming up from an angle sort of like this. Now I know I'm exaggerating, but this part of the block shielded it, and I did it on both sides. It's funny, I didn't see that when I was actually spraying, but I did see it when I was editing out the video. So I'm going to take a little brush now and just sort of try and dry brush along the bottom there. I got the sides okay. Yeah. Oh, and one more thing. I had to put my glasses on here. You notice right there? When I did the repair job on this piece of photo etch, I guess I didn't notice that the CA glue had sort of closed off the opening, and then by the time I did notice it was hard, and I couldn't do anything about it. I did try to, while we were airbrushing there, you didn't see me doing it, but I did try to take a little knife and try and break this out. And then I thought, well, I can always, spray over the mess I make, but it was so hard I just couldn't. So we're just going to have to put up with that, because I think what's probably going to happen is that if I try to fix that problem, I'm going to end up bending this, and it's going to be even more noticeable. So, okay, so enough about this piece. As long as I got the camera rolling. Now these ones here are the ones that have to have the railing glued on the top here. But before we do that, I want to paint the deck part of this black or dark gray rather, and I think I'll do something with the boxes. Maybe not the backs of the boxes, but I think maybe maybe just the tops. Maybe just the tops of the boxes. See if I can manage to paint just the top without having it run down the sides. Now what happened with this one was the airbrush blew it over, and it was pretty wet when it blew over, so I haven't checked yet to see just how bad it is on this side here. Don't think it's going to want to stick down there anymore. Oh, it kind of did. Oh, well, I don't know. I thought I was going to have to touch it up. Well, you can sort of see, like I'm going to use my knife here as a pointer. You can sort of see right there where there's a bit of a problem. That's not very smooth. But the other one's okay. Maybe I sort of got away with it. Anyway, this one also is going to have to be painted dark gray on the top. I think it's the 77. Okay, I had just gone to the kitchen sink and washed my hands off with soapy water, and the reason being is that I figured if I got any grease or oils on my fingers, when you touch this flat paint, it darkens it. It leaves sort of a dark smudge. And then I thought, well, maybe I could put on my white cotton gloves. And then I remembered, well, I don't really have the feeling of what I'm touching, whereas with my painting gloves here, well, I do. Now, careful, Ron, just go real gentle here. Okay, don't be prying up on the photo etch part. All right, I should be able to just paint along the edge there, and yeah, let's get my jar open here and recompose everything. Hey, what's this I'm seeing down in? There's no paint on my brush here right now. Looks like something down in there. What is that? Well, we'll be painting there anyway with the 77, so okay. I don't think I need very much here. Just get a little bit off of the cap. Might be kind of thick there. Now I'm hoping that when this dries, it's going to sort of blend in. I better get some of it that's a little bit thinner. Where it's in the cap right there. The cap has been off for 3 or 4 or 5 minutes already, and it will have thickened up because it will have started to dry, if you know what I'm talking about here. Okay, let's not mess with that anymore. I'll just let it dry and see what happens. Now I was going to pull that little blob of blue tack out of there, and then I thought, I might need to do something again on this thing. So I'm just going to leave it on, and we'll get it before we mount it on the deck somewhere. Now, if we don't do this how I clean my airbrush demonstration, probably what's going to happen is it's going to be this afternoon. I'm going to be uploading today's video, and I'm thinking to myself, oh my goodness, I forgot again. Okay, so here we go. Let's pretend that I just used it, and it was all painty and everything. Well, you know how they get. Okay, what I will do is I'll take the cap off here, the reservoir cap. Sometimes it won't have any paint on it at all anywhere. I'll have been lucky and I haven't tilted the thing over to the place where it's run off. But if I did, I will wipe off as much as I can with a paper towel that has been maybe dipped in isopropyl. And then I will drop it in this jar here. This is a jar of isopropyl. And the reason it's filled to this height is for a reason. We'll get to that in a minute. Okay. Then I will, naturally I won't have laid it on its side. I will dump out any extra back into the little jar. I know they say don't do that, but I've found it, it works, and it seems to me, I remember Nigel saying that he dumps his back too, and he's a pro. So at least I think he is. Anyway, then I will after I've got as much out of it as I can, I'll put in probably a milliliter of isopropyl with my pipette, and I will run it against the piece of paper that's stuck on the side of the spray booth, and until I notice that the isopropyl is starting to come through. In other words, you can tell it's really, really thinned out. And then I will back flush. Okay, and if you don't know how, I'm not going to show you how to back flush. If you don't know what I'm talking about, just in YouTube, go airbrush back flushing. And I remember a couple of years ago when I was going to get an airbrush, I was watching videos, and there were some really good videos on YouTube on how to properly back flush. And I'll do that maybe 3 times. Get as much paint out of it as I can. I'll take a paper towel and I'll wipe out the inside of the reservoir. Okay, now I'll take the airbrush apart. First thing I will do is I'll take this off. Next thing I will do is I will loosen this. I will loosen this before I do anything up here. Now this is just my own idea. Okay, now this needle is loose. It can be drawn back and forth. The collet has released the grip. I'm telling you more than you need to know, right? Alright, so this is loose. And I pull it back maybe just 1/4 of an inch. Not very much, because I don't want to be dragging that dirty needle, well, not dirty, but painty needle, up through the channel that it rides in here. So just a little bit, just so that when I start to take everything apart down here, I'm not going to be bending the tip. And so far I haven't. I had this thing for going on 2 years now, and I've used it quite a bit. Okay, then I'll take off the whatever that thing is, and I will drop it into my ultrasonic cleaner. Then this one, and drop it into the ultrasonic cleaner. Then, oh, by the way, I have found, and this is the way I've been doing it for about the last year at least, I just finger tighten everything. For a while there I was using the wrench, but I found out that I don't have to. So I just finger tighten everything. And it works. Okay, so now I'm being very careful here. Okay, now these two things I will also drop in the ultrasonic cleaner. Now my needle, I'm not going to pull it out this way. I'm going to pull it out this way. Okay? The needle then I will take a paper towel that has some isopropyl on it, and I will just, wipe it off, clean it off. Okay, so now our needle is clean. These are in the ultrasonic cleaner and it's buzzing away. All right, now what do I do with this thing? Well, probably I would have dropped it down in here already. And you'll notice that the reason it's this full is so that when the way it drops down, I'm not getting isopropyl into this valve part. It probably wouldn't hurt anything, but it's just sort of the way this thing drops down in there. I know it looks like it's going all the way down, but it doesn't. It just goes down about that far. And the isopropyl won't work its way up and then into the valve. But anyway, if it did, I don't think it would be the end of the world. I do not take all this apart. I used to. Now, what will sometimes happen is if I'm not careful, this piece is going to fall out on me, and then it's the same as taking it apart. It's a little bit finicky to get back together, but it can be done. Okay, so now where are we going here? Oh yeah, so then after I've got this thing soaked in there and I've got my ultrasonic machine running and so on, I will take this thing here, and all this is just one of these, and it's kind of narrowed down. And let's see, hold on to it here so that I hope I'm holding this so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, so then I will take this and I will go up. Oh, by the way, Tony told us about using these things. And so I went to Superstore and bought them, and yeah, they're just dental flossing thingies. Okay, now I will get this to go all the way up into the shaft there. Or not, yeah, I guess it'd be called a shaft, where the needle goes, and it will still be wet from the isopropyl. So then I'll just go up and down like this a few times, and then I'll dip the whole thing back into the isopropyl again. Then I blow it out with my compressed air. Okay, by the time I've done all that, the ultrasonic bath has done its thing. And I will very, very carefully take the nozzle, and I will try not to touch the end with my finger. I'm going to just plug it up with skin, although I don't think I've had that happen. And I will blow it out with compressed air. This thing will sort of fit up into the nozzle, and you have to be very careful when you plug it in, that you don't bite off a piece of rubber and plug it up. And after I blow it out, I can actually see down through there. It'll anyway, that's the way I do it. It's probably not the best way, but it's the way I do it, and I've been doing it for about a year now, and it works. And it takes about if everything goes right, I'm guessing about 10 minutes, I suppose, maybe a little less. Oh, now when I go to reassemble, I'll take a little bit of this airbrush lubricant, and just a little bit, just on the end there, and I'll just go like that, just so I can just see it. It doesn't have to have a big drop on the end. And then I'll put it in, see if I can hold it so you can see what I'm doing here. Now this idea I learned from one of the viewers, and I hope that viewer is listening, because I want him to know that I am doing what he suggested. Put your finger right here, and because it's kind of hard to get the needle to find the hole, but if you put your finger like that, rest the needle on your finger, then you can just nicely go in. Okay. Now when I put it back together, maybe I should show you how I put it back together. This is the way I do it. It may not be the best way, but this is the way I do it. Now, if I hold it up like this, can you still see it? Yeah, you can. Okay. I'll very carefully, not holding tight, drop the nozzle down like this. Now I'll get it so that it drops down. Then I will take this and I will just allow the weight of this thing. Can you still see it? Okay, I have to keep checking the monitor because I have a tendency to start wandering around the room here. Okay, now I'm pushing this down, not hard, just a little bit here. Push it in. Okay, now before I tighten it, now this is just something that is probably just in my head that this has to be done, but it probably doesn't have to be. But in order to have the nozzle aligned as best as possible with the needle, I just put a slight pressure with my pinky on the back of the needle here, just very, very slight. And then I tighten it the rest of the way, and that way the nozzle is going to be in line a lot better than it otherwise might have been. Now, like I say, it might have absolutely nothing to do with making it better or not. Okay, now, putting our whatever this is called back on. Now, because the camera's running, of course, I'm going to make a dang fool of myself here. Okay. Okay, now this one I will tighten as tight as I can with my fingers. Okay, now these two here, they don't have to be real tight. They're not going anywhere. They're not under any pressure, no, they're not really under too much pressure. Just a little bit tight so they don't fall off. Okay, so now, before I tighten the collet, or whatever you call this thing, back up, that holds the needle, so that when the needle goes, okay, I will take this part to make sure that it is all the way forward, and I will go like this, just to make sure that it's all the way forward. Then I will very carefully push my needle forward, so I can just feel that it's there. Don't force it. Just very gently. You can feel that it's as far as it will go. Then I will tighten that down just a little. Okay, now I know that everything's going to work. I will know that had I tightened this thing down and this wasn't all the way forward, then if I tightened it down, then if this thing went forward later, it would enlarge the hole in the nozzle, or could. Now, according to the lady at Maple Airbrush, these tips, or the nozzle tip, is actually made of titanium. So it's pretty tough stuff. Now I know most of the nozzle is brass, but the tip part that the needle actually seats in is apparently titanium. Now I'm assuming that they know what they're talking about. Okay. Now sometimes this will go on right away, and sometimes I have to fight with it to get it threaded right. All right. So we're good to go here. So for those of you that I had promised, I'll show you how I do it. That's the way I do it. If I missed anything, well, just ask me a question. I'm not an expert. I'm not an airbrush expert. All I'm doing is telling you what works for me. Now, I'd kind of been hoping that possibly by the end of today we might be able to flip the page and get on to step 40, be finished with 39. And then I started paging ahead, and I was thinking about the funnels, because yesterday morning I was watching Steve at the model bench, and he was showing what he did with the problem with the funnels not being the right size. That is the aft funnel. Now, I did this a few minutes ago, and I was looking for the section where it shows putting the funnels together, the two halves of each funnel. And it doesn't show it. I guess it just assumes that you know that this piece is going to go against that piece, and you know what I'm talking about. And you glue them together. Anyway, Steve came up with a very good solution for getting the aft funnel adjusted so it's the right size. And apparently, from what I get out of it, he's been contemplating how to do this for a couple of years or more. But he just did it in his last episode that I watched yesterday morning. I'll put a link in the descriptions to my video today, and you can go right to it. I'm not going to tell you how he did it, because that's going to kind of steal his thunder and spoil it for you as well. But I would highly recommend anybody who is building this kit, like the Trumpeter 1/200 scale HMS Hood, and has the Pontos detailing kit. You've got to watch this. I mean, it's such a slick idea. And anyway, yeah, I was really impressed with that. Well, obviously I'm impressed with it because I can't stop talking about it, right? So we won't be doing that, of course, because I don't have the Pontos detailing kit. I'm just going to put up with the fact that the aft funnel, which is probably okay, this one looks slightly smaller to me than this one. I don't know. Anyway, we'll be getting there when we get up to step 56, which at the rate I'm going, if I keep talking, won't be this year. Okay, let's see what we can do here with the rest of this. You know what? This video is pretty long already. I spent a lot more time on the airbrush than I thought I was going to, so I'm going to call this video a day, and I don't know if I'm going to work at this anymore this afternoon. And as I said in yesterday's video, if I do, I'll capture it with the camera, and you won't miss anything. Thanks for watching, and all being well, we'll see you tomorrow.